a story of lost kingdoms, cursed hearts, and a love that bloomed in darkness. Long ago, nestled between the Evernight woods and the shimmering sea, there lay a kingdom most maps had forgotten. Elion, they once called it. The land was lush, and the skies knew only twilight, where the moon forever hovered just above the horizon. In this timeless realm lived Princess Anira, the last daughter of the Moonflower line. Anira was born during a rare celestial eclipse when the moon turned silver and the stars wept light. The court whispered she was gifted, some said cursed, for while she could see into people's hearts, she could never see her own destiny. Her mother, Queen Raylan, once told her, "When the moonflower blooms in your shadow, you will know your heart's vow." But moonflowers only bloom once every 100 years, and Anira was tired of riddles. Her kingdom had long fallen into silence. No trade, no travelers, no messengers. She longed for a world outside the fog-covered walls, where people danced in sunlit squares and spoke without masks. Across the red-wind expanse, a storm gathered over the kingdom of Thorn. Lightning cracked against marble towers as Prince Elion gripped the rusted bars of his chamber window. Once a celebrated knight prince, Elion had defied the royal council to stop a war of greed. For this, his own uncle, now king, had him imprisoned. But Elion still held hope, for on the night of his capture, an old stargazer had whispered a prophecy through the bars of his cell. "Only the Princess of Shadows may break your chains, but she will first break your heart." Elion scoffed at fate. He didn't believe in fairy tales or prophecies. Not until the night the rain turned silver, and the moon glowed like a compass above the sea, and a whisper came on the wind, "Come to Elion." He didn't know how he heard it, but he knew where to go. Anira first saw him beneath the ancient heartwood tree, just outside the castle walls, where no one but she dared wander. The wind had shifted that morning. The moon hung lower. Something was coming. And then there he was, soaked in rain and wearing nothing but tattered traveling clothes. The stranger bowed like a prince and asked for shelter. "I'm Elion of Thorn," he said, though his eyes looked like he'd forgotten what that meant. "I don't know, but I was told I might find it here." Anira said nothing at first, but her heartbeat betrayed her calm. They shared no royal courtesies. Instead, he followed her to the Moon Library, where books were bound in starlight and walls hummed with secrets. There, they began to unravel the mysteries that had buried both their kingdoms. Elrond's silence, Anira revealed, was born of a curse, one cast generations ago by her ancestor, a queen who stole time from the gods. The Moonflower Curse, they called it. Every 100 years, the kingdom would fall into deeper stillness unless the moonflower bloomed again. Only in the presence of a pure vow, made with a heart that had broken and healed. Worse still, the sea had frozen, its surface hard as diamond. No ship could leave, no boat could arrive. Elion told her of Thorn, of betrayal, of exile. "Why did you come?" she asked one night, staring at the horizon. "I think I was looking for a voice I heard before I ever had ears," he said. "Yours." Anira turned away, her eyes wet with something heavier than longing. She had heard that line before, in a dream when she was 7, the same year the moonflower last bloomed in secret and withered the next morning. To break the curse, they had to journey to the Silent Vale, a place where time paused, and only those who could relive their worst memories could pass through. Elion saw the betrayal at court, his own blood calling for his death. Anira saw her mother's fading voice as she whispered, "Your heart will be your undoing, my child." They wept beside one another, but did not speak. At the center of the veil, a single moonflower bud glowed faintly, waiting. Elion reached for it, but it did not bloom. On their return, a message awaited Anira. Thorn's armies were coming. Elion's uncle had found him, and now claimed Elion had fled with royal secrets and stolen magic. Anira's council, still fearful of outsiders, wanted Elion imprisoned. "You brought war to our gates," they hissed. But Anira refused. For the first time, she stood in full light and defied them. "I will stand by him," she declared, "even if this kingdom falls." That night, she and Elion returned to the heartwood tree. There, she confessed, "I think I loved you before I knew how to love anything." Elion kissed her forehead and whispered, "Then let me show you what I vowed long before I knew your name." And he dropped to one knee. As the clock struck midnight and the moon bathed the heartwood tree in silver, the flower bloomed, not in the ground, but in Anira's shadow. The curse shattered like glass. The wind carried their vow across the world. And at that moment, Elion felt a warmth in his chest. Chains he hadn't known still clung to his heart, fell away. But before they could celebrate, a shadow moved beneath the tree. A woman stepped forward, the ancient seer from Elion's childhood. Her silver eyes glowed. "You broke the curse, but the vow is not complete," she said. "Would you give your life for hers, Prince?" Without pause, Elion nodded. "And you, Princess? Would you watch him die and still believe the love was worth it?" Tears streaming, Anira whispered, "Yes." The seer smiled. "Then neither of you shall die, for love that accepts loss is love that lives beyond time." With a wave of her hand, she vanished into mist. With the curse broken, ships returned to Elion, its people awoke. Colors deepened, music returned. Thorn's army never arrived, for the sea swallowed their ships, and peace settled where war had stirred. Elion and Anira married, not in a grand hall, but in the moon garden, with only stars as guests. They ruled 2 kingdoms together, Elion, the land of silence and stars, and Thorn, rebuilt on truth and forgiveness. Each year, on the night of the moonflower bloom, they returned to the heartwood tree and laid a silver petal in its roots. And so, when the moon hangs low and the air smells of sea and stars, it is said you can hear the whispers of a vow made in shadow. If you listen closely, you might hear the princess say,
"You were always worth the wait."
and the prince reply, "You were always my home." So close your eyes now. Let the moonflower bloom quietly in your dream, for somewhere between silence and promise, love still grows.